Hello everybody, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today, this evening, this night, whenever it is that you're clicking onto this video. So if you are brand new here, welcome. If you've been here for a while, or if you are a relatively new subscriber, welcome also. Welcome one and all. Today's reading is very exciting. We are finding out what supernatural powers do you possess and how will you use your gifts in this lifetime. So the supernatural powers could be from birth, something that you've just come into, something that's really sort of blowing wide open for you, something that's kind of new. We will find out, and we will guide you and support you in any way that we possibly can with your beautiful powers that you were given on this earth. So as always, we have three piles. The first pile, we have our beautiful rose quartz here. The second pile, we have our beautiful clear quartz, and then our third pile we have our, I was going to say unicorn stone, could be our amethyst here. So as always, take as much time as you need to come right back into yourself, really possessing, coming back into your own body, grounding into your own energy, coming into the now moment. The more you are aligned with your own soul and your own intuition, the more these readings will resonate. So if you need to go off and do whatever you need to do to come back to you, you're welcome to pause the video. The timestamps will be down below. As always, you can come back and check in with the reading that you have chosen. And excuse me, as always, these are obviously general readings, so take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If one pile isn't resonating with you, feel free to take another one. Chances are, if you're here and aligning with this energy already, there is a message for you. So really believe it's there for you. So let's just take a lovely deep breath. Come into ourselves here, hold for a moment and release. Let's just release everything we no longer need. Come into the present moment. This is where we'll stay, at least for the next 10-15 minutes for your beautiful reading. After that, you're welcome to, of course, pick up what you need to and go about your business as normal. So outlined the piles for you. Let's go ahead and get right into these readings. We're going to put aside pile 2 and pile 3 for now. So if you picked pile 1, this beautiful rose quartz, healing energy here, self-love energy, then this is your reading. We're going to start off with our chosen cards here, that they're all oracle cards, and then of course we will move into our beautiful tarots later on to get a little bit more. Let's move this back to get a little bit more information. So again, we are working with what supernatural powers do you possess? How will you use your gift in this lifetime? Let's get right into what we have here. Clear the vessel, that is your first card. I'll lay them all out. And then we have gray, endings are inevitable. Okay, we have forbidden, and that's number 18-2, or number 9 coming in. Boundaries, where do you need to establish better boundaries? Beautiful. Let's move our stone back a little bit. I speak my truth and encourage others to speak theirs. You've got the throat chakra here and the number 20. Absolutely wonderful. So give me a second here while we just come into your energy. Well, not come into your energy, but work with your guides here and see what we have. So the first supernatural power that you have, and this really is a great supernatural power, pile 1, is to be able to sort of see objectively, to be able to be a clear vessel, to be able to clear out what no longer works for you, and to be able to see the whole of a situation. Now, this is actually an incredible, wonderful thing to be able to do, and to be in and around this energy right now. So especially in, you know, what's going on with the collective right now. So it's wonderful. So what it is that's really beautiful about your energy is that you're able to sort of see when people come to you, and this may have happened to you, when people come to you and they ask for your advice, you can sort of see many different points of sort of fusion. And what we mean by that is, so you would be excellent readers in this way, because you can, not only can you see everything, but you can also see the sort of the crossroads. If people take this road, this will happen, or this will happen. And it's not about predestined, talking about what, this will happen if you do this, not at all. But like there's different ways, different energies, the way that energies can flow, the way that energy can move and shift and even be manipulated sometimes. We're all open to a little bit of manipulation. We live in society, it happens, but it's just a matter of knowing where that energy comes from, and you'll be able to see this objectively. So when people come to you and say, I'm experiencing this and I can't really see through it, I'm feeling a little gray about it, I'm feeling a little cloudy about it, not feeling clear about where to go and whatever, you can lay it out for them and really describe in details the energy that's in and around them. You're also very clear about where somebody's energy has been manipulated, where they're being influenced by something, and very specifically where they've opened themselves up to something. And again, to be specific about that, it's not voluntary necessarily. It's just that sometimes people come into people's lives and, there's a soul contract there, or there's something for them to learn. But they're going into this experience expecting to get X, Y, and Z, and actually it's sort of a lesson type for them. So you'll be able to really speak to people, or really be able to differentiate between what's really going on and what people think is going on. And so there's a clear essence, there's a clear version of truth. Now, in the past, you may have had a little bit of problem with this essence of truth, right? People didn't want to hear the truth. So when you spoke, sometimes you could be really clear and articulate about how you talked about the truth, or this happening or that happening, and people didn't want to hear it. And here's the thing, there's a time and a place for that too. You had to realize when it was the right time to speak up and say, hey, this is happening, X, Y, and Z, because really at the end of the day, people are here. We're here to make mistakes. We're here to find out things. We're here to work through our own karma. We're here to work through our own, whatever it is that we need to work through. We're here to figure things out on our own. That's not to say that we shouldn't ask for help. That's not to say that we're not here to seek alliances, that we're not here to gain support. Absolutely. Support in what it is that we're going here to go through. So this is something that you had to learn, sort of boundaries in your own way, when to step in. And even when people came to you and said, I have this problem, or I have this, there's sometimes that, you weren't in a position to help them, or it wasn't your place to speak about what was going on. Maybe they wouldn't be receptive to what, the clear truth was, or what was really going on. They need to go through it themselves. So this is something that you had to learn for yourself. And for some of you, it could have been a kind of an uneasy path, because you can see the clear truth in what's going on in these situations, and yet people keep putting themselves into situations to get hurt. So it was, and it's not that you had a martyr syndrome where you wanted to take on everybody's, well, there's an element of that, but it's not that you really wanted to take on everybody's energy, and it's just that you didn't want anybody to be hurt. And you kept seeing people do certain things, and you could see clearly, also you could see clearly through people's intentions sometimes. So if somebody introduced somebody to the group, or somebody had a new boyfriend or girlfriend, and there were not so clear intentions in there, that's something that you could have been privy to in your own way. Now, it's not something that sort of knocks on your door really clearly and says, this person's an idiot, or this, not like that. It could be just sort of this this little feeling that you have, this little intuition that you can't really shake at. Initially, you don't necessarily trust really, or really pay too much attention to, because there's an aspect of you and your personality too. It's very grounded, and looking for evidence, and that's perfectly reasonable. That practical evidence, or working for let's work through this and see what else comes up. Yeah, I don't have enough information here. So, and some of it could have been plain just sort of distrust, and you've had to work in yourself where I kind of knew this, and I did this anyway, I kind of knew this. And then steadily but surely you moved forward, and you learned to trust yourself. because this could be like small kind of inklings about things, and you know, there's a way of moving forward and learning how to trust yourself that was systematic for you, and having to figure that out and working through your own way of how you work with this energy. So it's, for you, it's kind of a beautiful thing, but it's also a thing where you get to see a lot. You get to see a lot. To be able to be objective, you get to see absolutely everything, and that can be disheartening for you also too. So there's an energy in boundaries where you had to learn this for yourself, where people were coming in and around you as you're a clear vessel, and you know, maybe for some of you, you hadn't claimed a lot of your complete gift yet. So there were people in and around you that were attracted to your energy, but had sort of denser energy too, and you had to work through all of this yourself, you know, constantly getting these red flags, or constantly being around people who didn't really see you or understand you. And you know, this is a way for yourself now to really claim your energy, and claim it in a way where you stand in your energy no matter what, because there's an essence to this, and this comes into past lives for you, Pile One, where you had this ability before, and you were treated sort of negatively. You could have been treated negatively for it. So there's really standing in your power, and there's an essence of really standing in your power right now. And some of you are feeling, this may not be for all of you, but some of you could be feeling a little worried about that, a little hesitant about that, feeling a little bit sick about that, because as you come into that, you're clicking into this sort of reverberation, or sort of what we call echoes of past lives, of when you were fully in this energy, what happened to you before. And also for some of you, it could be, you know, really understanding how everything all works can be kind of difficult too, because you're a clear oracle, really. So this could be difficult for you. You also have information that other people don't have. It could be considered forbidden information. People don't want to hear it. People don't understand it. The other thing is, and this got nothing to do with ego, we're just being really honest about where you are. It's not that anybody's better or worse than anybody else, or anyone deserves more or less or anything. Everybody's just at a different point in this lifetime, and everybody's doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Everybody has their own journey, and everybody's doing the best they can, especially under these sort of somewhat chaotic circumstances. And they're chaotic in different ways, and they're sort of not chaotic in the way that you look at it, really. So it's being able to see all of this information, and not everybody being there yet, can have this sense of loneliness, and have this sense of wanting to dumb yourself down, wanting to dull yourself down, waiting for other people to catch up. And again, this is not an ego thing. This is, you come in as an ascended soul in some ways. So you were, I mean, you've gone through ascensions, especially in the last, 18 months, but the last 10 years, you've gone through ascension processes. But you already came down as somewhat of an ascended being, so you already did a lot of this stuff in this many different lifetimes. You came down to this lifetime to assist because you had this gift. So again, it's not about being better than anyone else, or being more advanced than anyone else. You're just a little bit, you've moved along a little bit more. So for some of you, you're really clicking into that a little bit of that painfulness of feeling isolated, feeling alone, while stepping into your true power, because there's an essence of you, and it could be your ego messing with you a little bit, may or may not be. But some of you may be feeling, if you step fully into your power, there's an essence of you that's going to feel alone again. That's going to have a little bit of that isolation, just feeling as though you sort of don't belong. It's kicking up these kind of feelings in and around you. So it's wonderful that you're here for this. Now, that's completely and totally understandable. But we want to give you something a little bit more wonder here. First of all, you're on the precipice, for most of you, of clicking into this power light completely, right? You know that you have it. There's no going back. You've worked through all the stages and the elements of it. You know, the four steps backwards, two steps forwards. You've already been on the sidelines observing. Part of your gift is observing. You've already been through and seen how your gift works when you reject it, when other people reject it, when you try to help people who aren't ready to listen. You've gone through all of that. Some of it could have been quite painful for you, and you pulled yourself back a little bit, and then you work through it. But for some of you, and then you've had to work on boundaries too, because opening yourself up to this gift, because it's your gift. That's what you're here to do. You know, this is a supernatural gift. It's absolutely huge, right? Opening up to this gift, you realize that you had to put in your boundaries because you were sort of a beacon for other people. And while this energy was absolutely in and around you, you weren't kicked into it 100%. So you had denser energies around you, and they may have been wonderful in their own way, and again tried their best, but there was still this element of you hiding aspects of yourself in order to quote unquote sort of fit in, and then having sort of lesser than energy around you, and that also hurt too. And some of you might be seeing some of this energy sort of dissipate, or putting up your boundaries and saying, I no longer want this in my life. So for you, there has to be some acceptance on a sort of raw level and then a higher level about having this gift, because even though you know that you have this gift, there's an element of you that wonders if there's going to be a little bit of suffering that comes in and around this gift. And we can assure you that you, first of all, you're brilliant. You've got this gift for a reason. You've come in with this gift because you've worked with it, you've allocated it, you've worked with others, you've trained others, you've done all sorts of things to work with this gift. You're also excellent alchemists and transmuters also. And this is something that you're really clicking into now, with transmuting lower density and moving into higher density, which is in element an aspect of 5D, right? Which you have the chance, if you want to in this lifetime, to move into. It, you know, everybody's always obsessed with 5D in spirituality. It is what it is. We're not here to necessarily be in 5D. We can be in 5D to bring elements of 5D down into 4D and 3D. That would be wonderful. But there's no pressure for you to ascend to 5D. But there is a chance that you could do in this lifetime. And there are moments, particularly in the last 18 months, where you have gotten there. This is an instance for you to stay there, but there is a part of you that's falling away and wondering, if you do, you know, what will that mean? So, because not everybody's in 5D, you know, there's an element, there's a lot of spirituality that's still in the 4D and the lower density 4D, moving up to the higher density 4D, and then maybe into 5D. And all of that is wonderful. Everything's moving exactly as it's supposed to. Everything has its purpose. It's all great. But you are thinking of this a little bit differently. So let's go into clear the vessel. You've got the 10 of Wands. You've been taking on a lot of this energy, and you've got the Charity. So there is this essence of moving forward, and there is this chance for you to ascend a little bit higher right now, and you're putting on the brakes on that for a very specific reason. Now, there's not just this one chance. If you don't do it now, that's it. Not at all. You go whenever you want. And it's part of your journey, but there might be a couple of you that are putting your heels in because you're not worried about 5D. You're not worried about it. You've been there. You know what it feels like, but you're worried about, or there's an essence of you that's that came here for connection, and there's just this wonderment of what it will feel like if you're there, and how you will do it. You've never been there before. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. It's totally understandable. And you're at this point where you can choose, because you're a clear channel, you can choose how you move forward now. That's very much in your capability, because you're able to transmute lower density energies and move through them. This is something that you're also doing. You're transmuting a lot of the 3D energy too, in your own life, in a very specific way, the way in which it's shown up for you as history, as experiences, as things that you needed to learn, as lessons, right? You're experiencing that. So if you're feeling this kind of disconnection right now, if you're feeling a little bit dark right now, like heavy, and you don't really know why, this could be what's going on for you too. You're transmuting all of the lower stuff that's coming in and around you so you can move forward. Now, regardless of what you do with that energy moving forward, you're transmuting that lower. So stay with it. You're definitely moving forward. How you move forward is always completely and totally up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no right or wrong way anybody's working. That's the polarity that we've sort of inherited from this world, this lifetime, but it doesn't really exist. Everybody's doing what they need to do and everybody's working in perfect harmony with their own karma. That's it. End of story. It may not be your karma, so you're not seeing it from their point of view, but that's perfectly fine. We're all here to do whatever we need to do. Nobody's lesser or higher. But you do have certain gifts that you've been working on in previous lifetimes that others haven't. And that just is a fact, right? So carrying this energy that you've got right now, it may seem heavy. No, it's not going to last long. Stay with it. And, you don't need to push yourself or even think about going into 5D. This is not something that needs to be consciously. It's either going to happen or it isn't. You can choose it on any level. But right now you're transmuting this lower density energy that's really specific to you, to what you've been through. Now, you may see it mirrored in the world or the collective or sort of in the exterior. That's fine, but that really doesn't matter. You're not actually working on a collective level. You're working on a personal level to transmute all of that. Now, as you transmute all of that lower stuff, of course, that's gonna compute to the collective. Because everything you do computes to the collective. It really does, especially with the power that you have. Concentrate on yourself right now. Really stay in where you are, and really work on transmuting that energy and doing what you need to do. There's personal things that you do, nature, water, whatever you do to transmute energy. Everybody here is going to be a little bit different in pile 1. In the forbidden, you have strength. Yeah, you're able to go into this energy and hold this energy in a way that other people aren't able to do just yet, but they will be able to do. This is something that you can hold space for. This is something that you can teach in this lifetime. This is something that you've taught in a previous lifetime, actually. So this is something that you can do. So if this is what you're feeling, this is going to be temporary, so stay with it. But this power that you have with this, particularly with boundaries, it also comes down to really owning your power, pile 1, which is going to give you this real talk here. Owning your power. You are powerful. You can do this stuff. Yes, maybe you've been treated a little shittily, this, that, and the other in the past because people were frightened of you, or they're frightened of their power, or you stepped in a place where it wasn't warranted. And this is something that you've learned. We're not going to go on about it, right? This is something that you've had to learn. And part of your journey of learning to work with your power has been quite difficult. Not integrating completely into the world, wondering if you're, quote unquote freak for some of you, to be perfectly honest, because you didn't resonate with a lot of things that were going on. So of course, it's understandable that you have these boundaries. You've had to learn these boundaries. But the last boundary for you is to really click into this energy and own it. Own it once and for all. And that's part of what you're doing with the transmuting. As you get through it, you're going to be in a position to own it. And as you own it, you own your power. You own where you stand. You own who you are. You own the truth. And this is clear truth. Again, you're a clear channel. So it's an objective truth. Not everybody is ready to hear it right now, but a lot of people are coming into that energy, and the right people are going to hear it. And later on, a lot of people are going to hear it because people are moving through again in their own ways. And you also know that you're not here to save anybody. The right people were here. That's totally fine. But you have absolute truth running through your veins. So this is your time to really click into your energy and own your gift full on. This is one of the biggest supernatural gifts that you can have in many ways, because it opens the door to many different other things that you could be doing in this lifetime. You have many other gifts, many other clairaudient gifts. Some of you are even, I think it's clairsmelliant. I know it always makes me laugh, that word, and I might be a little bit off with it, so apologies if I am. But this smelling of perfume, or grandmother's in the room, this, that, and the other. You have many different gifts. Obviously, you're alchemists without a shadow of a doubt. A lot of you are readers or channelers in some way, but you might channel in a very specific way. It doesn't have to be tarot. Some of you sort of writing, or some of you are channeling. And when we say writing, it's sort of fiction or nonfiction, helping people in that way. Storybooks for children, even illustrators. A lot of, not necessarily painting, but even illustrators. The energy that you put into your creative projects, it could be anything. Everybody is a little bit different, but there's a lot of creativity coming out, and that's the way in which you channel. It doesn't have to be like this. A lot of you will have very different experiences or very original takes on how you actually integrate your special gift, your beautiful gift. And it's not supernatural, it's supernatural for you. It's a supernatural gift that you have, and it's absolutely glorious. So claiming your soul here, giving yourself some time to claim your soul, claiming these gifts, claiming your truth. You have a sense of timing. You didn't before, when to speak up, when to let people sort of figure things out on their own. Again, you're here to guide, but you can't push that guidance. You know that. But you also didn't want people to suffer. So that's, again, a boundary that you had to figure out. But really working with your throat chakra right now. Again, somebody said something recently on as a comment, knowing when to speak up, knowing when to not. This is as the throat chakra. This is something that you're absolutely expressly working with, and also knowing how to show up for yourself, knowing when to speak up, knowing when to really move forward and say, all right, I'm claiming all of this now. So give yourself patience as you move through this. This is really huge. This is not an ascension necessarily, but this is claiming sort of everything that's come up for you and saying, I'm going to do this. As you do this, of course, it opens doors for you. And this is what you know. You also anticipate that your life will never be the same again. And there's a little bit of nervousness about that, because you're not going to see, there's nothing to compare it to anymore. All of this is perfectly normal. It's perfectly natural. Give yourself some time. This isn't like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. This is, it could be instantaneous. So give yourself some time to work through this. Again, with the lower frequency, the lower energies, you're going into these core wounds right now, and you're really, you're transmuting them into this beautiful power. So you're very, very powerful. It's just that you've used your gift in a way, in a very, very specific way, which is kind of brilliant. Only powerful people can do this. You've used your gift in a really specific way to help people. And at the same time, you've kind of hidden your power behind it. It's very difficult to do. Normally they go one and one. You were able to do this and sort of hide your power and dumb yourself down and still show up for people, especially recently in the last 18 months, one way or another. So this is a way to integrate fully, completely and totally into that. So of course you're going to be working in a more powerful way, but in a completely different way. So of course and again, you can't compare it to anything else. So this is a way for you to actually properly step into your power in a way that you've never, ever done before. Now in a way that you may not have kind of done in previous lifetimes, because what you would have done would have been hidden. Maybe you've seen forbidden, people came to you, people knew who you were, but you may not have been out there doing it. So this is a way for you to step into your power completely and totally, say, ta-da, here I am, in a way that you've never done before, but you've still been of service to people. You've still been clicked onto your path. You've still been doing what you were supposed to do in this lifetime, but doing it sort of from a hidden realm in a way. So this is a huge thing for you. Give yourself some time. Give allow in that temperance, that beauty. What you're doing is not small at all, but this is a gorgeous power that opens up many other gifts that you have to take these gifts to the next level also. Right? You have the, it's kind of strange, but you also have healing abilities. But what you do specifically with the healing ability with others is that you show that you can actually show them in their energy, what their energy is like, how it feels when it's cleared. And then people can step into that energy a lot quicker, and then they can heal a lot quicker. There's different ways that you do things that's very powerful, but a little bit different. And you've always felt a little bit different. So really stepping into this little bit different is kind of freaking you out for some of you at your soul level. Perfectly normal, perfectly reasonable, but this is what you're here to do. And you will do it on your own terms. Make sure you do it on your own terms. Always. Don't force yourself. This is, as you come into this, you're gonna be able to see on the other side of it how beautiful this is. A lot of self-care, a lot of self-love, a lot of self-acceptance coming in. and really, really let this happen. Really, really let this happen. There's an essence of you that feels as though it's breaking wide open and breaking apart. If that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. There's a reason for that. Some people are walking into this a little bit easier. Some people aren't. It's not a matter of control or not, because it's happening. It's just a way of how you see it. Now, of course, you can walk away from this at any point. That is your right to do that. So however you feel, this is your gift to use any way that you want. We're just giving you some support in where you are. Now, I did a reading very recently. I think it's the one before this. I'm going to link it below. Again, always listen to how your intuition is telling you if you need to check it out. If you haven't, it's what will you say no to this November? Sorry, as I threw something on the ground. What will you say no to this November? Now, this reading may not be for everybody, but it might be for you. It's about really standing in your own power and using those boundaries to say, I'm not doing this anymore. No for that, yes to this. And it's about centralizing your power and your energy and putting it at the forefront first, which is something that could be really wonderful for you. 3 different paths to choose from. There might be some extra energy in there for you, some extra messages to back up and help you and support you in this reading. So if you feel called to, I'm going to leave it down below. That's some extra energy for you and some extra beautiful messages for you. So that's what we have for you, Pile 1. Sending you so much love and support for exactly who you are and where you are. You're at an incredible time, no matter where you are, whether you're moving through it and you're getting to the other side of it and you're like, yay, or whether you're in the thick of it, or whether you're just coming into it suspecting that this is where you're going. No matter where you are, you're going to be wonderful. You're going to be fine. You have these beautiful supernatural powers that you've really developed through these different lifetimes. This is the time for you to shine. This is the time for you to claim your power. How and when you do that is always completely up to you, and we support you in that completely. So until we meet again, you take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Okay, beautiful Pile 2s. If you chose the clear quartz, then this is your reading. And again, we are reading what supernatural powers do you possess and how will you use your gifts. So we're going to start off with a myriad of different oracle cards, and then of course move on to our we have our tarot deck here. So let's get right into your reading. So you have Adorn the Temple. That's your first card. It's a beautiful card there. Protest, Start a Revolution, number 28. You've got 27 and 28 moving up. You have Understanding, 43. That's wonderful. You have Priestess. How are you being called to step up and lead? Wonderful. Love that card. That's gorgeous there. And then you have Find Your Bliss, number 15. I'm following a path I love and I am fully aligned to my soul purpose. So let's just check in with your guides for a moment. So just give me a moment. So this is a really interesting way. So you have something in common with Pile 1, but very different energy, and the way in which you go around it or at your gift or your supernatural power is different. So you're able to tell a story. Now, bear with me. It may not seem like a supernatural or a supernatural power, but it is. You're able to tell a story, which means that you can actually work with different timelines and different realms too. There's many different things that are going on here, but you can tell a story and see how it originates from, move it into something, and then move it into something that we can all work with. Let me be clear about that, or clearer about it. So, you can use allegories or symbolism. You have a way of working with people and having people work with you where they understand the totality or the entire picture of something, sort of an objective viewpoint. So in that way, you are a clear channel, and that again you have in common with Pile 1, but you work around this very, very differently. So you've got Bard energy, you've got Druid energy, you've got Elemental energy, Celtic energy, all of that coming in, and you can tell a story. Now, your stories are actually attached to different lifetimes where they're not just stories. You actually lived through them. They're experiences that you're bringing up in this lifetime. And again, they sort of have this allegorical sort of effect where you use and fuse your wisdom, your beautiful wisdom, because you're very, very old soul, into the stories that you tell. Now, you may even be known for your stories, whether you're a great storyteller after you've had a couple glasses of wine at a party or some green tea, whatever floats your boat, or you might actually be a storyteller in some ways. Now, not all of you will be writers where you actually tell a story within fiction or nonfiction. Some of it is about owning your own story and about being out there. But the way in which you own your story is very, very powerful. You understand that the story is really important. It's completed you. It's made you who you are. But then you've understood that there's a catalyst within the narrative that you need to sort of claim and then release from it, still use it, but release from it, and then move up into sort of a higher way of being. So this is something that you know how to gain your power, you know how to move into your power, you know how to guide people into moving into their power, and sort of respect that each person has their own narrative, each person has their own way of moving, each person, you know, has their own language of movement, of power that comes in from past lives, that comes in from this lifetime. And you know how to sort of walk beside somebody, and some people are running to get to their distance, and sometimes you need to slow them down, or you slow them down, and some people need to, you know, encourage to move up, or to get a little bit faster to go to where they're going, you know, because it's the time is right. You can support them in that way, but you know how to sort of fall into step with somebody and work with them, really hearing who they are and really understanding where they are and how to get them to the next step based on the narrative and who they are. Now, I know there's a lot of stuff in the spiritual community, and you know, when you get to the point, you know, nothing is, you know, we're everything, we're this, we're absolutely, we all understand that we are connected in a certain way, but we all have unique attributes, and nobody's above or below anybody else, but we are completely unique. When you leave this world and you transcend onto the next world, there will be nobody like you. You know, your beautiful essence that has come into this lifetime with many, many other lifetimes, and you would never seen this lifetime looking the way that you are, being the way you are. You're never going to have this lifetime again, right? It is unique. And there are narratives that have come in that we, you know, that we have the chance to sort of claim and reclaim and ground into, and from that power we can move through them. Yeah, I mean, afterwards, there's no need to claim your authority, or there's no need to sort of clamber onto the narrative, but there's nothing wrong with claiming who you are. And in fact, in this world, being human, it's really important to claim something, to know who you are. You know, even so, even if you want to leave that behind, that can give you a grounding way to do it. Now, there's many different ways to do this, but owning your narrative can be a really, really positive and just really influential way of being in this world. It's absolutely beautiful. And this is something that you do. This is something that you can do, or this is something that you're doing. And you can tell a story again with everybody else's life. You can really see as you move forward, and as you work with people, you can see everything that they've been through and all the decisions that they've made. This is a real superpower in order to be able to heal people. Now, no disrespect to any of these industries, you know, when people, and I've said this before, you know, when you go for help with psychotherapy and this, that, and the other, if you've gotten therapy, that's wonderful. And if you need to seek it out, please do. But it doesn't always work for everybody. And sometimes it doesn't work for highly sensitive people or empaths in that way. Keep going over the same thing all the time. And something that you're able to do is really work with people where you, again, there's a way in which you work with them. They can transcend it, but also work through and integrate all of that healing and, you know, those core wounds. There's different ways of working with people. And even in psychotherapy these days, you know, there's this real understanding of there's a spiritual aspect component to it too. It's not just, you know, your body is physically influenced by your mind and your feelings and your emotions, and there's several different ways to heal. And it's not just about healing the mind, which of course is extremely important, but it's linked to so many other things, right? So this is something, judgment popped out. Let's see if it pops out again. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's for you. It didn't pop out. So this is something that you're able to do. You've got the Two of Cups. That's wonderful. That's coming into, that's energy in and around you. So what you're able to do in this lifetime is, in a tangible way, you're able to figure out how people need to heal, and you're able to work with them on a one-to-one basis and in a group setting where you can set down sort of some energy and be able to, again, work with people and really understand where they've come from, and the understanding of listening too, and not listening with the understanding that we're going to heal you afterwards, which is something that happens in other professions too, where you know, somebody is the expert and you're going in there to sort of to get some illumination. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but the way in which you work is really beautiful, in the way is, you know, whoever comes to you, whoever heals with you, you're on the same level. There's no expert per se. You know what you're doing, certainly, but you're not in that position of power. In fact, you're lending that power, you're giving that, but you're showing that power to the other person. Once that person realizes they have that power, their way of initiating their own healing process shifts immediately, right? I'm not coming to you to get the answers. I have the answers. I'm coming to you so you can facilitate, how do I get to the answers? It's a little bit of a different dichotomy as you have in traditional ways that we've done in society. Again, nothing said against them. If you're having great pleasure going and doing that, that's wonderful. This is just other ways of working within this energy, and this is specifically what you will be doing, or what you have the ability to do. So it's really, really beautiful work. Now, it's not precious work, it's not woo-woo work. In what you do energy-wise is being backed every day by science, you know, and physics. I mean, it's there. It's all there laid out for you. The way in which you do it is very specific and appealing to you and the people that will be in and around you coming in to work with you. So you have the King of Wands. Yeah, you have this divine masculine energy coming in to be able to have the confidence to be able to do this. And this is, of course, something that you've done with your own life. Be able to see it almost like a storybook, owning your own narrative in a very specific way. And once you own your own narrative, there is a freedom that comes from this. And that's why, you know, if we're looking to be completely free, you have to own where you are. And that's when you sort of move spherically in any direction and live in this beautiful sort of magical life. But you know, there's nothing spiritually bypassing about anything that you do. There's nothing woo-woo about anything that you do. It's grounded in this sort of confidence of beauty, of owning, and really this ownership of where you are in order to be able to release and move forward. There's a lot of passion for what you do. There's a lot of passion in and around you coming in, because the results of what you do, and whether you're in this line yet or whether you do this in your own specific way, and each and every one of you will have your own version of how you do this and how you step into this role should you decide that you want to. You know, the energy and the passion that's in and around people who you work with is just, it's infectious. You know, I've never felt this way before. I've been activated. You're also able to activate people's DNA. You're able to activate their healing process in a way that just doesn't always happen in sort of conventional fields. So you're here to be sort of the bridge between how we used to do things and how we are moving into and what's truly needed, right? So here with the protest, the 10 of Wands. So this is something that's really interesting. Start a revolution. I'm all about revolutions, by the way, in every way, shape or form. And I'm all about tearing down the old structures that really have not worked for, well, thousands of years. I mean, they've worked for some, but, you know, we're seeing that now. You know, it's all out there. But this is something that you work with. This is something about taking on that energy and transmuting it. You know, fight, moving it into something else. But, you know, again, giving people space to be in that realm of, this is where I am now. I need to start this revolution. You know, and you can take that from the experience of the external, bring it within. How do you start a revolution within yourself? How do you do this? But then you want to get to the warriorship where you're no longer fighting. It's no longer sort of, because when we fight something, of course, we sort of become it in a way, because you're not against something. You're not saying, you know, in ancient magic, it's really, it's everything is the same. It's just on different parts of the scale. So if you're fighting something, you're on that scale. You become it in a way. You know, you're just on a different part of the scale. So hot and cold is just, they're not opposites per se. They're just on different fractions of the scale. So it's just a matter of, you know, how you work with that energy, getting everybody off the scale and into this real autonomous energy, but also honoring that energy of, I'm done with this. I don't want this anymore. Honoring that energy too, because that energy, that fight, that beauty, that passion, that kinetic energy of moving forward and pulling, we need that energy to pull down the old, right? So there's a way that you can go in and sort of have a finite kind of understanding of things and sort of tweak things in a way and help people sort of bring in for, you know, and really differentiate between the collective and themselves. And again, this inner journey that needs to be done and responsibility that needs to be claimed. And this is something that you did yourself. Now, this is a really sort of integral process that that people go through, that they can go through with you and that you've gone through. And this is something that you can help people with. This is an incredible gift to be able to give the world, because it gives the power back to the individual so they can become authentic, not become, they can own their authenticity, own their their wholeness, and at the same time sort of stand for what they believe in, which is absolutely valid, right? So you have the Two of Pentacles coming in. The Two of Pentacles has come up for those of you who are not follow me on Instagram. I've got my Instagram post down below. That actually came up, this exact card came up, and I wrote something about it today. There's energy in the collective about this beautiful understanding of, and this is something that you know now, this is something that you've been working towards, and you've integrated this knowledge. If you haven't integrated it yet, then you are on the verge of integrating it, where you can do whatever it is that you want to do. You have the confidence to do it. You're good at juggling at whatever you want to do, but also there's an essence of knowing that there's this faith that needs to be clicked into, that you're part of not only just Gaia, you are Gaia, you're the institution of the universe. You are the universe, and it is all knowing, and your higher self is the universe. And clicking into that energy of that all knowing means that you can never go wrong, no matter what you do. You're a sovereign being. Whatever you choose, you're protected. You know what you're doing. You're listening to your higher self. Now, you may make decisions that don't look the same as everybody else, but that's fine. They work for you. You don't need to disclose why you do them. You don't need to, you know, none of this. And this is what you stand for, and this is what you can help people with. You know, this understanding of faith in themselves and really putting them out there, putting themselves out there and putting yourself out there in a way that's secure and beautiful, because you know you're going to be okay. Now, having this confidence and having this ability to juggle and being really, really passionate about your life, and also being very clued in to what it is that you're supposed to do in this lifetime. And some of you are activists. You know, some of you are activists, and you have an activist kind of a version of self. You have an activist wanting better for everybody, and the way in which you incorporate that and fuse that into what you do will be different for each and every one of you, and it's absolutely beautiful. And that rising up in you is absolutely warranted, and is happening and warranted in this lifetime, because the old structures, they need to fall away, and they need to fall away. They cannot be upheld anymore, right? It's all coming to light, it's all happening. But how everybody does that in an individual way that keeps the energy alive, where you're not constantly again fighting against something that ends up being you, right? Where you bring in that responsibility for oneself, but still be really powerful and still very much hold the essence of what it is that you're sort of fighting for, right? You don't have to give it up. So it's sort of the nuanced version of how we move forward, right? This is something that you have, but standing in your own authority, standing in your own uniqueness, and standing in your own authenticity really does require a shitload of faith, right? In something bigger, not bigger than you, but something all-knowing that's also a part of you, but really clicking into that element of it and saying, all right, I'm here. I have faith that this is going to be okay. I have faith that, you know, my desires will be met. I have faith that I deserve everything that I want. I have faith that I am, you know, I am beautiful, and all of that, everything that I'm about to achieve will be highlighted and supported by all of this energy in and around me. And this is what this card is. You know, there's nothing arrogant about the card. The card has the infinity symbol, this melding and fusing of something bigger bigger, but also we're a part of that too. So we're a part of the bigger, really giving into that bigger aspect and saying, all encompassing, I've got this, we've got this together. And this is something that you've done on your journey. This is what makes you sort of the storyteller. And we wouldn't be able to have these stories if we didn't have the ups and downs, if we didn't have the F ups and the make these mistakes and this, that, and the other. So, you know, there's a messiness to your life, which is absolutely glorious. And if you didn't have that messiness, you wouldn't be able to laugh at yourself. You wouldn't be able to teach in the way that you do. Now, some of you are just teaching by standing in your own authenticity, right? That's more than enough. And some of you are doing other things. It's not doing more, doing less. It's just you're doing other things and infusing this energy into whatever it is that you do. And some of you are creative in that way, and some of you are in the practical fields and bringing in this knowledge, infusing it in, which again is wonderful. So you have the Hierophant and you have the Priestess, which is absolutely gorgeous. So there's an element of you that's being called to step up and lead. And in this lifetime, and in this way, you also have energy with pile 1 too, because you're here to be some sort of a clear channel also, you know, to have the sort of all-encompassing viewpoint, the objective, the macro viewpoint, where you can see everything and see how it's all clicked into everything, right? So, you know, as we look at one small element of society or one small element of our lives, you know, it's easy to tear it down and call it this and call it that, but unless we see it in its entire totality, none of it really makes sense. You're able to see how the jigsaw is pulled together and put together, and sometimes how people push and try to push in certain factors of, you know, the jigsaw puzzle, and they don't fit, and they're trying to put in and that piece doesn't fit. You're going to be able to, you know, very, very cautiously and with beautiful energy, pull them back a little bit and say that, why are you trying to fit it into this? You know, let's pull it back and see what's going on. Again, with this aura of objectivity, and there's nothing about you that's judgmental. Again, you're not coming at the stance of I'm better than you, or I know more than you, or I'm more powerful than you, or anything like this, or I am an expert and you're coming to me to pay for me, you know, to do this. It's really sort of two people in a room, but obviously you have this expertise. It's without a shadow of a doubt, otherwise they wouldn't be there. But the way in which you come across is it's easy for people to be able to sort of gain the knowledge in and around you. There's something about you that's very personable. There's no boundaries in and around you in that way. Now the boundaries, of course, you've learned how to work with those out of protection, and you can move away from it. And if anything, that's something that you do in this world that's really unique, is that you're able to teach people, or you're able to stand in your own energy where they don't need the labels anymore. Now, first of all, to claim them, that's wonderful. But then to transmute them, you don't need the labels anymore. You know, I'm this, you're that. And, you know, our society is based on labels. You know, this person is this, and there's a certain amount of energy that's been proposed by society, and that's how we treat them, and this, that, and the other, right? You're here to really kind of like pull all of that down and still pay homage to the fact that people are able to do certain things, you know, give props and space to people who have the gifts to do whatever they're doing. But it's not really about, it's pulling down all of that energy. And it's a really unique thing to be able to do. And it's a really wonderful thing to be able to do. So people will be able to quite easily see how brilliant they are and how perfect they are when they're in and around your energy, no matter what they've been through. And no matter where they've come from, or how little money they have, or even if they haven't eaten in a week and they think they're crap, right? You'll be able to show them the truth, that they're not, and this is who they are. You'll be able to show people, and you'll be and they'll be able to infuse that energy within them. You'll be able to show them how beautiful they really are, according to source, right? So, and then you have the Three of Cups coming in. Following this path that you love, that's your soul purpose, building communities, but building communities away from what we've seen before, where there's a hierarchy, right? Building communities where, people, you know, I'm going to infuse your knowledge because you know how to plant this, or I'm going to infuse your knowledge, and everybody works together in the same way, and nobody's up, and, you know, everybody has different gifts, and we bring them together, right? It sounds like this weird utopia kind of thing, and if that's triggering you, I'm sorry. But it's really not. It's just honoring people for exactly who they are and where they are in society, right? and building our own society and building our own communities. So this is something that's kind of, it might seem a little woo-woo, and I understand if it feels that way, or it sounds that way, but actually that's the way in which we're moving forward. We're just in the crux of seeing everything fall or crumble and a lot of truth come to light. So as we're moving through this, the way in which you work in society, the way in which you work in the world, is going to be a little bit different to what we've seen. But standing in that authenticity, and again, having this beautiful understanding of how we weave these stories and these narratives are absolutely beautiful. And you'll be able to bring it again to next level existence, right? And maybe working with each and everybody, personal narratives, right, to help people heal. That's one way that you would be able to do this. In a beautiful, but really claiming all aspects of oneself. And there's a political element in this too, you know, really pulling down the old structures and sort of not rebuilding on the old structures, rebuilding from, you know, something completely different, building something brand new, right? And it's extremely powerful. Now, there's two, I just did, and I said this at the end of part 1 too, I just did something, the reading just before this, what will you say no to this November? Now, it's not for everybody, always listen to your intuition, but it might be for you, about these boundaries, about how to put your energy first, right? How to claim your energy first. And for the most part at the beginning, everything becomes secondary, but then you can step into your own power. How you do that and fuse that. And that's a really important reading. So if you feel called to that, that can give you a little bit of help depending on where you are, you know, stepping into this power, feeling a bit nervous about it, understanding that you have this power, fully integrating into this power, remnants of this power all the way through your life with how you've moved in the world. Now you're ready to step up in this new way. But really gaining that energy, it's really important that you put your energy first and you really ground into that energy and claim your power in this way, because you're extremely powerful, claiming that energy. So if that reading speaks to you, please go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. One of those pals might give you an extra vavum or a little extra support. The other reading that might be good for you is what kind of light worker you are. If you have not checked that out, I'm going to leave these both down below in the links. You can just go ahead and grab it. But if you haven't checked that out, and even if you have, maybe check out one of the other readings, one of the other piles. This also can give you a little bit of more support about the specifics of what it is that you're here to do, and the energies in and around you coming in this lifetime. So those two extra readings might give you, I mean, all of the readings on Unicorn Light Tarot should be able to give you or bump you up in some ways, but those two are coming up for me now to give you a little extra support and beauty. But you've got this. This is a wonderful reading, pile 2. I mean, you have this incredible energy, and again, very, very different energy to pile 1. And the way in which you are going to actualize what you do will be different, but there's a remnants of a slight overlap. So if you feel as though, again, you want to head into pile 1, that's up to you. If it doesn't start resonating, particularly at the beginning, that might not be for you. But again, the other two readings will be down below for you to check out. But we are sending you so much support and love for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. You take care. Go be you, your beautiful, beautiful soul. And until we meet again, bye-bye. Okay, gorgeous pile 3s, last but not least. But if you chose this beautiful amethyst here, this is your reading. And of course, we are doing what supernatural powers do you possess? How are you or will you be using your gifts in this lifetime? We're starting off with these oracle cards, and then we will be moving in for more information for tarot. So let's get right into your reading. So your first one is yes, celebrate growth and breakthroughs. Number 7, love this. Gorgeousness. Then we have bitch fire, stand up for yourself. Loving that too. That's 16 or 7 if you put them together. You have conclusion, chapter 1, and then the end. You've got number 2, and then you've got 3 coming in. 2 there. This doesn't need to be reversed. Birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, and then you've got balance. I understand and embrace the opposing forces in life that bring about balance. Absolutely incredible. So let me check in for a second with your guides. Now you'll have something slightly in common with pile 1 and pile 2, which is understandable because most of you are here are light workers and or star seeds, probably both, earth angels, a smidgens of that going in there, but you are light beings. What, everybody's a light being, but so You'll have some sort of similarity, but let's see. For you, your supernatural power in this lifetime is being seen. Now, bear with us, pile three. This is not a small thing, right? That's not supernatural. It is. It's super and it's natural, right? Being seen and owning your power, which becomes your superpower. So bear with us for this. So again, you have something in common with pile 2 insofar as there's a journey that you've had in this lifetime. It's been a very specific journey. You've had a lot of karma that you've needed to move through, and because you're a very, very old soul, and there's a moment of ascension. You've had a lot of ascension, moving through ascension processes and moving through to higher self regions, right? And in order to do that, there's been a lot of karma. A lot of these old souls, of which you are one, have a lot of karma to move through. So there's a lot of old karma that's coming in, and again from old past lifetimes. So what you've done in this lifetime is huge, because it all culminated in this lifetime to move through it. You've also worked through bloodlines, and you've moved through that, and also there's an element of you where you're like, bloodline stuff, it stops with me. It stops with me. I am going to take responsibility. I'm going to do this. Now, this is not arbitrary. You were chosen. You chose yourself, but there was a little bit of your ancestors going, she'll do it. She can do it. But you've been preparing for this for many lifetimes, and you knew that you would be able to do it. And you were chosen from your bloodline also. This is, again, not arbitrary. This is something that you decided to take on. So in this lifetime, it's culminated in a lot of intense energy, a lot of like crazy energy, a lot of sort of dark energy sometimes for you to transmute through, something that you knew that you could do. At times you had a certain amount of doubt, which is totally fair enough, but you have an incredible amount of power. Right now, a lot of that power in this lifetime particularly has been used in the sort of the transmuting effect, right? So it's been used to transmute the old karma, figure out these soul contracts, work on this level, work on that level, work on this level. So a lot of that power hasn't seemingly been used for your individual effect yet. However, you've been really clicking into the power of who you are, really understanding, and you have very specific gifts that go far and wide beyond what it is that we're talking about now. But this is not about gifts, which you do have. This is about the supernatural gift. In this lifetime, you are truly here to be seen for exactly who you are. And let's just be honest with you, that's going to be brand new. Who you will become and who you are in this lifetime, who you develop into as you move. And again, it's not even about healing. It's about moving through old energy, transmuting old energy. And when you stand in that space after transmuting all of that energy, is this sort of brand new beginning that you have never been before. Everything in your past life, you brought into this life to transmute it, but you've never been this power before. You've never done or will achieve what you are going to achieve in this lifetime. It's very, very powerful. So the first part of your life has been about transmuting. Now, you wouldn't be able to do this again unless you were very powerful, and you would have sensed that power. Other people around you would have sensed that power, and they could have acted accordingly. Sometimes, they could have been quite overwhelmed by it and accused you of, whatever, maybe not understood it, but people did understand your power. Now, they didn't necessarily understand your power, but they sensed your power. Now, your power hasn't come into full effect yet for you. Your power has been used for the greater good, right? It's almost like you're stepping out of a movie like Star Wars or something like that. And in fact, a lot of those movies where it has that sort of, that figure, that sort of hierarchical figure that goes in and saves everybody, you might love that narrative, because there's a part of you that really, really understands it, and you understand it at a core level, because in some ways, and again, we're not doing this to put attention upon you or put pressure on you, but this is what you come in to do in this lifetime. And it's not, you're not here to save everybody. That's Hollywood's version of it. You're here to save yourself. But in many ways, you are standing in this energy of this ends with me. So you are in a way saving the bloodline. You are in a way saving old patterns from lifetimes and soul contracts from repeating. You are doing that, you are your own hero in this lifetime. So you are here to actually be a superhero in this lifetime in one way or another. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to get bit by a radioactive spider and start scaling up walls. In fact, we insist that you don't. Please don't do that. or I think that that's what it's, but you're going to bring this understanding of what a superhero is to this lifetime and really bring effect to it, where everybody can understand that they are also superhero, their own superhero, and bring that back to them. And in fact, you might even write something about I'm my own superhero or something like that. But it's about really working with people and having them understand how brilliant they are by doing this very, very sort of important work. And this is something that you're going to be able to do in this lifetime. And this is something that you're going to be able to help other people do, where when they heal with you, they heal. Like you said, your mantra could be, this ends with me. You know, whatever it is that you're doing to transmute, it ends. It's going to end. That's not to say that you haven't had your ups and downs and that there haven't been some kind of practices or some kind of experiences that you've had to go through a couple times before, a couple times around the block in order to really encompass what's going on. But each and every time that you've done it, you've not really been repeating. It's just you're still moving through it. Now, we all do that. We all have these loops in our lives as we go through, and there's still a little bit extra to pick up. So we're not really repeating. We're not just dating the same person. Yes, they'll have the same attributes and this, that, and the other, and we haven't broken the cycle yet, but there's still more to learn with this person, right? So it's not like you've not been through that. You know, everybody has, and that's why you'll be able to speak to everybody on their level, because you've been through what they've been through, right? Some more than others. I mean, you've really been through and gone through, like everything that you've experienced. So when you say it's over and you're not going to repeat it, you've done the work. You've absolutely done it. There's nothing skipping. There's no spiritual bypassing going on. There's no everything's okay. No, you've gone in there and you've done that work. When you say everything's okay, you know it's okay because you've done the work, right? You've done it. You've dug deep. And this is your supernatural power, to be able to stand in this world, in this brand new place, after being able to do this work and being able to guide people in this really beautiful way, to be able to see themselves as the superpower. Again, slightly, very different energy from Paul too, but same kind of remnants there. So you've got the 10 of Cups and breakthrough, celebrate growth and breakthroughs. Now, the one thing that you're here to do is celebrate yourself, right? You're here to celebrate. You're here to bring back joy into this lifetime. Now, that may not seem like a superpower, but it is a superpower, especially now, right? Especially now in this instance. You're actually here to infuse joy into the work, and also infuse joy into the work of, you know, transcending the old and this, that, and the other. Everybody, you know, we always think of it as, you know, going the shadow work. Oh my God, this is deep, dark stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to say that all of it's, you know, ladybugs and unicorns. You got to get down there and you got to do things, but there's ways in which you can go around it, bringing in joy. There's ways in which you can approach all of this where it's not all dark and gloom, and it's, you know, it can be a joyful process, believe it or not. And this is what you can bring to the process. You can bring the joy to the process. You can bring the joy to being able to do this by focusing on, we're doing this work, which is incredible. It's empowering, and focusing on that instead of the lack. All right, we've got to heal the lack. We've got to heal the lack. Let's heal the lack by focusing on what we do have. Let's focus on the joy of being able to be in this position, to be able to do it. You're going to focus. Wherever you focus becomes resonant, right? And as you focus on the joy, and you're free to focus on the joy because you yourself have transmuted these lower energies and have started, you've almost started this brand new beginning, right? This beginning is yours. It's absolutely yours. You know, many of us go through these lessons that we have to learn, and some of it's karma and some of it's soul contracts, and you know, we go through this, and you know, we have these ups and downs, and we have a great period, and then something else happens. We're not saying that the universe will never throw anything at you, or you know, this, that, and the other, but it will be met with joy and beauty. But the way in which you are moving now, or how you're about to move, is brand new. You have this brand new beginning where you're like, this ends with me, and it has ended with you because you've done your work. So you're not taking in, you've done the work to transmute it, right? And you've been leading up to this to many, many lifetimes. So that means as you move forward, the old is no longer there, which means that the brand new is the brand new. You've never been here before in any shape or form in any of your lifetimes. You've never even touched what this is really in the way that you're doing it. And this is something that you can do for other people. And you can do it by having people own their emotions, own their beauty. If you're angry, yeah, fuck yeah, say it, do it. This is all good. Owning it. We're not repressing anything anymore. We're honoring exactly where we are. And the more beautiful thing about what you're doing, and this is absolutely a superpower, is that, you know, claiming yourself all of the time. You know, I feel myself right now because I feel good. No, you feel yourself no matter what. You are yourself. You own every part of yourself no matter what you are. And this is who I am at this point. You know, I'm not just myself when I feel good. You know, you're yourself now, claiming every aspect of each and every part of ourselves, and celebrating that. Even if part of us is angry as hell, celebrating that part of it. The fact that you know that you're angry is absolutely amazing. Bringing everything up to the surface in a way that's not even necessarily organized, but in a way that's honored. And in that honoring, people can move through it and transmute it a lot quicker, right? There's an honoring. There's a sense of bringing back fragmented parts of ourselves that we've given away, trying to be our best selves, or trying to be okay, or trying to be a good person. You know, who cares about that? You know, when you come back to yourself, you're automatically a good person. You don't need, you need to work in the parameters of being a good person, you know, especially if those parameters say that you're not allowed your anger, you're not allowed your grief, because you're not a good person, because society says we don't have time to deal with that. That's okay. Repress it. Just move forward. Let's have these masks, these facades, whatever is going on. So pulling through all of that and stepping up in a new way, and just having that energy of people healing sort of dramatically in a way, is absolutely beautiful. But owning every part of themselves, yeah, bitch fire, standing up for yourself with the sun energy. The moon energy is in there too, but the sun, this divine masculine way of just honoring every part of ourselves and saying, you know what, the anger in me is good, the anger in me is beautiful. And it really is. Because when that anger, it might be at a lower range right now, but once we honor it and move through it, that anger turns into passion, transmutes into passion, it transmutes into whatever. But if we dumb down and we repress that anger, turns into depression, then we go within ourselves, and then what are we going to do, right? Then we're not. And even in that depression, even when we are, we're still being our best selves, because that's where we are. That's what you're teaching. That's what you're standing for. And that's what you'll be able to do on a practical measure for yourself in this lifetime. Just standing in that authenticity with the path that you've taken will give people just the confidence to be able to see themselves in that way, right? Hierophant, wonderful. That came into, I think, pile 2 with the priestess next door to each other. So you've got this beautiful conclusion coming in, and this comes in with birthing a new age. You've got the 2 of Pentacles, which also came up in pile 2, and I said this in pile 2 also. If you're not following me on Instagram, check out my Instagram post, it's down below. Do follow me there. It came up today. I just wrote about this very card today, and talking about how, you know, being able to juggle and being able to do whatever it is that you want to do, but also clicking into that faith of knowing that your inner self, your higher self, that faith that you are being looked after and protected by higher self, with the infinity symbol, is there too. So this understanding of clicking into the universe and saying, this is who I am. I'm showing up in a different way now. I'm showing up in a different way than society has really showed us that we can show up in a way that society has really encouraged us to show up in. But you're showing up in this way, and I know I'm divinely protected. Clicking into that energy. This is brand new. Never seen it before, but everything's ended. I've come here to end a cycle. I'm ready for the new cycle, and I'm stepping into this brand new, totally uncharted territory for you. But I'm going in with confidence and beauty, because A, I know who I am, because you've done everything, and also open to who you could become also, because that is infinite. And then B, I am clicking into the fact that I have all these beautiful gifts, and I am supported with these gifts throughout my past life, and I can integrate them in this lifetime, and I have the power to be able to do that. So as you move forward, you are moving forward with these unique gifts, being able to really infuse and intoxicate people with this new way of being. It's like absolutely wonderful the way in which you work in the world, right? But claiming the responsibility for your own power is number 1, stepping into it, and also really clicking into that faith of knowing that you're not doing this alone, that you're absolutely supported. Now, when you were working within that transmuting phase of doing all, it did feel as though you were alone. It did feel as though for a lot of you that you were isolated. This was deep, dark, rooted work, and you got down and you did it. And you are that sort of person when people freak out, there's so much to do. You're like, well, we start with this, we do this, we do that. You know, a real sort of like, I have a Taurus moon, so I have that energy to me. All right, well, I see the end, but this is what we need to do. Now, you really have that inherently in your personality. So as you got down and dirty with all the stuff that you needed to do, all right, let's do this, you got that. But, you know, you had those blinkers on as you were doing that. And some of it could have pulled you out of the world. There's nothing wrong with that. There was nothing really in essence that you missed out on in the world. For some of you who are feeling as though I've not really been integrated, because the world that you are going to integrate in, the world in which you are going to create, you're ready to create. So you didn't really miss out too much on the external world before. For those of you who are thinking that message may not be for all of you, but for those of you who are wondering, I kind of did things my own way, I've kind of been a loner, maybe I missed out on stuff. You missed out on nothing. This is where it all starts. And you've got the 7 of Wands with this balance. Yeah, teaching people, let's make sure that this is, yeah, teaching people or holding space for people so they can sort of teach themselves. Again, how to stand up and how to know who you are and honoring every part of yourself, which is this innate superpower, right? And not waiting to be okay. You know, not I'm good when I'm okay, when I feel good. And also the most important thing is bringing in this, this tremendous joy into every aspect of what you're doing, this tremendous joy into owning and therapeutically looking through that anger and owning it. There's joy in that. There's pleasure in that. There's power. There's immense power in anger as a catalyst. There's immense power in all of this, and you are feeling good while you're doing it. Bringing this joyful aspect to every aspect of our lives and not waiting to feel joy, you know, not waiting to feel better so we can feel joy. Feeling joy in those moments of like absolute falling apart and absolute, I don't know what's going on, the depths of despair. There's a joy in there too. There's a beauty in that, really understanding those elements, bringing them back to people and holding space for people to move forward in this way of healing, in this way of grounding into their own energy, in this way of seeing themselves as this autonomous figure, and also being out in the world the way in which they want to be. Free, completely free from these repercussions of not being accepted or not being seen for who they are. People are going to see you based on what they believe, what their belief system is, what reality they built up around themselves, right? They don't see you for who you are. And if you've been misunderstood, that can be painful. We're honoring that. That can absolutely feel painful, but it's also not you. You know, it's also not even them. It just is. But bringing that joy to that situation where none of that matters anymore. You stand in that power and you stand in that innate power no matter what, like this lighthouse. It's absolutely gorgeous. And you're at this precipice now. You know, a lot of you are in different sort of timelines working through some of this stuff. You still could be in the rising up phase, which is a very important phase, transmuting the rising up phase to taking the responsibility phase for all of this. And, you know, again, so many different phases, but, and all of these phases, you know, can happen instantaneously. There's not like, you know, you've got another 10 years, you've got to do this. Again, as we always say here, don't go down the rabbit hole. There's nothing more that you need to do. This is your journey. It's yours. It's that you've claimed it. It's right here. But it's about standing in your own authority, the way in which you want to be seen. And again, not expecting any kind of validation from the external world, not needing it anymore, not even wanting it. You know, some of you will get to the point when you actually receive it, you'll be like, okay, thank you. I mean, you'll honor the fact that you're there and it's happening, but, you know, you won't need it. It might even make you feel a little uncomfortable, to be honest with you. And everything else that comes along with this lifestyle will be great. And it will be incidental to you, because owning that joy and being there and using that as a superpower and standing in that power and integrating that for other people, helping other people integrate it in this brand new way of healing that we haven't seen to this degree yet, but it's coming to light and it's there and it's building momentum, and you're going to be part of this movement, whether you're physically around people, whether you're doing it yourself, but you'll be in and around people doing that. It's this new way of balancing, right? It's beyond balancing through medication or balancing your days of about a good day here or a bad day there. It's a brand new way of balancing where joy is at the forefront of all time. Now, this is an incredible superpower, and this is an incredible time to bring it about, because this is the time where it's going to be, it was always needed, but it's time where it can be fully developed and integrated into our society as everything's falling. Things that no longer serve us are just crumbling away. It's all crumbling. Everything's crumbling, regardless of what people are saying or whatever the media is saying. Everybody has their own thing going on. You know, we all know it's all crumbling. It's going. it's basically gone, right? So seeing through all of the illusion and coming back to a center self of who we are and the gloriousness of who we are in every single moment, bringing joy back to everything that we do, right? Bringing and infusing joy back, absolutely. So this is a way that you're doing this, and there's, for each and every one of you, because this is a general reading, you'll have many different ways to do it. Some of you will do it very practically. You can do it through psychotherapy, you can do it through medicine, you can do it through many different ways. It can be infused in everything that you do. Some of you are creative and artists and doing it that way. Some of you are merely just, not merely, but merely standing in your own energy and infusing that authenticity. And just by that, just giving everybody that reason to be that themselves. But if you're at that precipice of saying, I know something big is here, this new beginning is here, and I'm a little bit nervous, it's nothing I've ever seen before, but I also feel as though I can't go back. I can't go back. There's nothing to go back to. It's all ended. This is the reason why, if you feel into it and your interpretation and you feel aligned with this reading, this is the reason why. So hold on, everything's coming in. You're right there. The way in which you move forward will be baby steps. You're in alignment now. So you'll be moving as you will be in alignment. You won't just be plodding forward and moving forward the way in which you did before. If you did, it's not going to work. And that's fine. You'll be moving forward with these aligned actions now, taking you higher and better than you were before. So just hold on to where you are. You've got this, but this is your supernatural power, and it's absolutely glorious. Now, as I said in pile 1 and pile 2, as extra support for this, because this is kind of a big reading in one way or another, I did a reading, What Will You Say No To This November? I'm going to link it down below. It's for boundaries, putting your energy first, and then everything else is secondary. Learning to put your energy first and having that boundary. So what are you saying no to? You're saying no to everything that isn't in alignment with yourself, and learning to put your energy first. So if you feel as though that might help you and support you in some way, and you have not checked out the reading, I will check that. I will put that down below for you to check out. Also, if you have not checked out what kind of light worker, what kind of light worker you are, I'm going to put that down below too. That's also something that can help you and give you a little extra information about what's going on here. If you have checked it out, again, and you feel called to maybe click another or check out another pile, check that out too. Again, giving you a little extra support, a little fulfillment, a little extra information. Always listen to your heart space, always listen to your intuition. It will lead you in the right direction, but I will list those or link those down below so you can easily get in and get a little extra information if that's where your heart's telling you to go. We are sending you so much love and support for exactly who you are and where you are in the world, you beautiful, beautiful being. Thank you for being you, truly, from the bottom of our hearts. Absolutely gorgeous being here and just being in and around your energy today. Thanking you for everything that you've done. Remember, stay in your joy no matter how you feel. Joyful, joyful, joyful. You have got this. Until we meet again, take care. Bye-bye.